Stonecutters Podcast. Aaron Hankins
Will Cat
in the building.
in the building.
Good sir, how are you doing this fine night?
I'm laughing, bro. You know I need my shades. I don't have my shades for the night.
With my shades on, activating.
Yeah, put your shades on, bro, because this podcast is strictly about you. Okay. I need to know, how was the trip in New York? You need to break it down for us. We need to know everything, because you was just in the art gallery and you just had an exhibit. You know what I'm saying? We seeing your background and everything that you got going on. So you need to break it down. Where is Aaron at in his life right now?
Where am I at in my life right now? I am at I've just passed through a threshold.
Okay.
And what I'm learning is that through our lives we pass through thresholds all the time, and sometimes they are not monumental, and then other times they are beyond monumental.
Mm-hmm.
And my artwork going from my garage and going to Radio City Music Hall, Rockefeller Center, 50th and 6th Avenue of America, is like, for the art to end up in a space over there is, it's something that I wrote down, like the shower notes that I had, like at the top 10 things that I wanted in my life was to have art in a gallery. And this was like number 3 on the list of top 10 things of like career achievements that I wanted, so this is pretty major. So to back up, for new listeners to the Stonecutters Podcast, I was a part of a Nike Craft Wear Tester program, and it was almost a 6-month program. We started back in December, and every Monday we met with Tom Sachs, world-renowned artist and sculptor, on Zoom calls. And part of it was we were wearing sneakers and we were wear testing these sneakers, but it was really about Tom teaching us about art and how he learned about art. And he wanted to change the way that people thought of themselves as being artists. Like, I have the program from the show, from the art show that I'm in. It's still going on. It's from June 25th was opening night, of the 26th, until July 25th. So it'll be up for an entire month in New York.
Oh, so I get to see it.
Yeah, you're going to New York, you're going to see it. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. So yeah, we were testing these shoes out, but Tom was really about teaching us about art. And about a month left in the program, maybe a month and a few weeks ago, Tom told all the wear testers that had been doing these challenges on Instagram, walk somewhere you would normally drive, all these different conceptual art pieces, all these different challenges that he had us do. He was just like, hey, well, I'm going to have an art show, and I want to have everybody's art in the show. And the name of the show is Endurance, Will. And there was a book that we read as a part of like Tom Sachs's required reading, which was the story of Ernest Shackleton and the voyage to the South Pole. And Shackleton was trying to be the first person to get to the South Pole, and he took an expedition, he took a voyage, and it took a year for his team to get down there, and they got lost, and then they couldn't actually make it. But nobody at the end of the story, nobody ended up dying on the voyage. And it was this story of endurance, of like continuing to press on and moving on. Even when the ship sank, they kept going. And then when they lost all their supplies, they kept going, and they kept moving. And Tom really took the pandemic and us all being isolated and taught us about art. And it was just like an online art course. And me and you through the podcast, we'd already been, you're like, I want to share my art and I want to share my craft. And I think that, like from our first couple episodes of the podcast until now, I feel like I've matured as an artist, and I feel more legitimate as an artist, as a sculptor, as a conceptual artist, as a intermedia artist is another name for the kind of art that I do. So you can see in the background here that this is a planet, and Tom asked us to build a planet, and it's made out of things that were around me. So I had a roll of duct tape, and I took some dirt from the yard, and I filled it with nuts and bolts, and it weighs about 8 pounds, and it's a medicine ball. So during these wear tester challenges, we were also like doing exercises with this ball. But I have a stand over here, and I'm really interested in something called process art.
Mhm.
And so every day that I pick this ball up and I put it back over here, I'm not going to put it back in the same exact place. So I take a picture of it. So I have a picture, 140 pictures of that planet. So I built it 140 days ago, and I'm taking a picture of it every day to sort of show how it disintegrates over time, because everything eventually you know d- you know fades away into nothing.
Yeah.
So
That's deep.
so
Mm.
yeah, I got into the planet there. So yeah, I submitted a piece of artwork for the show, sent in directions how to hang it, and Tom really worked with, I think there was about 100 people that had items in the exhibition, and talked to us about like, what do you want to hang in the gallery? Why is it important to you? How does it connect with the Wear Tester program? How does it connect with conceptual art? There was a
Mhm.
lot of people that just wanted to show the sneaker, and they were like, hey, can I just put the sneaker in my art? And Tom was really like, no, like show us more. So the piece of art that I made was, it fit inside of a FedEx box. So this is a it's just a FedEx box here. But the story goes is that I get mail from Tom Sachs studio, like when you buy something, and it would come in a FedEx box. So I saved one of those FedEx boxes, and then I cut pieces of poster board and made like a map that kind of folds up and fits inside the box. And this map hangs on the wall. So when you see it at Rockefeller Center, you're going to see this 8-panel map that's connected with gaffer's tape, which is all I had at the time, and all these
Mhm.
different maps and collages. And you're going to see 120 pictures of that planet, sort of how it matured from the first day that I made it until the day that I shipped it off to the art show. So you kind of just, the whole piece is really about growth and progression and
Mhm.
consistency. I took a copy of one of my line drawings. I'm on day 435 straight days of doing this endurance art piece. So I took one of those sheets with all the line drawings on it, and I included that in the work. Um, so Will flew out on Wednesday night, landed on Thursday in New York. Got to go to a Noguchi museum. Isamu Noguchi is a sculptor that Tom's influenced by, and he has a museum that's dedicated completely to his own art in Long Island. And if you're going to be in New York for a little bit of time, I'm going to highly suggest that you go visit it.
Mhm.
Um, Friday, I met up with a bunch of like-minded, people that enjoyed Tom Sachs art, that we had all connected over the internet, and we finally got to meet in person. And then I got to the show, and like it's 5 o'clock, and the door opens, and I just walk in, and it's a I'm trying to give you, it's probably 50 feet long, and it's probably 20 feet wide. Marble floors, just white walls. They've got spotlights kind of shining up against the walls. We presented our art in what's called salon style. So it's where the art is like, an inch apart. So it's all the art is kind of packed in, but
Mhm.
but because we're all talking about the same subject and the same topics, it all of the work is kind of cohesive.
Mhm.
It kind of flows. So um, I was there. I saw Tom. Me and him, we hugged. We dapped it up. He was just like,
Mhm.
"Yo, like, he saw what I was wearing. He took a picture of my fanny pack and posted it on Instagram." And um, I invited one of my Nike coworkers who was living in New York, and
Mhm.
he he left Nike. He went to get his MBA in New York. So I was inside the gallery, and I stepped outside, and he turns the corner, and he has a paper bag in his hand, Will, and he hands me this paper bag, and I'm just like, yo, what's this? And it's a bottle of champagne. And I'm just like, at that point, Will, I'm just like, yes, thank you, DeCarlos. And I'm like, look, there's Tom Sachs. He's standing right over there. And so Tom had stood, Tom's in front of the art space, and he's like just starting the Instagram live, and he's just like, hey, and he's like, hey, Aaron, come over here. So I got this bottle of champagne in my hand. I pull the paper bag off of it, and I'm like walking over to Tom, and I'm like, yo, Tom, like let's get ready, like let's open this. And he's like, oh, don't
Mhm.
open it just yet. And
Mhm.
he's like, hey, Aaron, I'm here Instagram live. We're here at the show Endurance. I'm here with the star of the Weartesters, Aaron. And I'm just like, thank you. And he's just like, all right, let's go look at the line. So then he goes and looks at the line, and then he goes inside the show and he does like Instagram live, and he like looks at everybody else's work. And um Will, wild story. In Portland,
Mhm.
I would go to the coffee shop, and I would see this older Asian gentleman come in every so often, and he was always fashionable. And one day he came in, he was wearing a trench coat, and it had like this fatigue kind of thing, but it was cashmere, and it was clean. And I saw the guy, and I said, hey, that's a nice jacket. And he's like, thank you. And then a few days later, I saw him again, and I was like, hey, like that was a really cool jacket. And he was like, yeah, it was CDG. And I was like, okay, CDG, Comme des Garçons, like.
Mhm.
But so then I asked the guy at the coffee shop, and I was like, who is that? And it's like, oh, that's John Jay. So I looked this guy up, John Jay, and John Jay is the chief creative officer at Uniqlo. And
Mhm.
he used to work at Wieden and Kennedy, and
Mhm.
he connected Tom Sachs with Mark Parker,
Mhm.
and he connected Kanye with Mark Parker,
Mhm.
and he's a connector. So I'm in New York, and I'm in the gallery space, and I look over, and Tom Sachs is talking to John Jay. And I walk over, and I'm like, John Jay, and he's like, hey, I know you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm from Portland. And he's like, oh, and he's like, you work at Nike. And I was like, yeah. And my friend DeCarlos is there, and I'm like, can you take a picture, John Jay? Like you're at the art show. And I just started talking to him, and I'm like, hey, like, I've been following you for a little bit, and I know that you work at Uniqlo. And he has Will, this is wild. He has a place in Tokyo, he has a place in Portland, and he has a
Mhm.
place in New York. And he's always bouncing between those three places. So
Mhm.
he's either in New York, he's in Portland, or he's in Tokyo. So
Mhm.
while I was in New York, I just got that sense that like I'm from Philly, and that just getting back into New York and being there for 4 days, and just like it just re-energized like my city, like me as like a city boy, and just like the
Yeah.
smells and the
Mhm.
the, the energy and the creativity. So show ends at 8 o'clock, Will, and then we go up to the roof. We go to the rooftop of Rockefeller Center, and you look one way and it's the Empire State Building, and then you look the other way and I think it's like Central Park or something. And we just get up to the top, and like I'm just taking it all in, man. I had brought out a little camera, and I was just recording just the scene of everything. They were playing some music. I was trying to tell them to turn the music up. They didn't want to turn the music up. Um, I recognized it for what it was, and
Mhm.
I was living in the moment, and I knew that I didn't want the night to end, so I
Mhm.
still had this bottle of champagne. So I go over to the bartender, and I'm like, hey, like I don't want to cause a scene. Can I open this bottle? And she's just like, I have to ask my manager. And I was like, okay. And I was like, can I just have like a cup of ice then? Because I was just gonna do it away from her. I wasn't gonna do it out in the open. And she was
Yeah.
like, and I was like, just don't even worry about it. Like, I'll just do it later. So we hung out, like took a shot of mezcal with Tom. So like when we got up to the roof, like he drinks mezcal, which is like a
Mhm.
form of tequila, and somebody got him a bottle somehow at the top. So I had the
Mhm.
champagne at the bottom, he had that at the top. I met his mom and his dad. He introduced me to his dad,
Mhm.
and I gave his dad a compliment. Like all fathers love the compliment of like, you've raised a great child. And I told his dad, I was like, I don't know if anybody's told you this today, but you raised a great son, a leader. I like I just like me, like that's the like I want to give that to somebody.
Right.
So Um, we're up there till about 11, and then everybody's just seems to be kind of tired. And DeCarlos and his friend, they were with me, and I was like, yo, let's just keep going out. So we went back to my hotel. We went up to the rooftop, opened the champagne, looked out over the city, reminisced. So DeCarlos was there with me, Will, at day zero at Nike, day one when I first started, and he was like the first guy. He worked in my department, and I would just be like,
Mhm.
yo, do you know about Tom Sachs? And he was like, not really. And I'm like, let me tell you.
Right.
And you know, he's in the film, the original film that I made. He was in that. So he left like right in 2019, and he, during the pandemic, he got his MBA in New York, and now he's working in New York. But he just was like, Aaron, I remember when this was just an idea in your head.
Mhm.
Or Will, when he would just like, he looked around and he saw all these people wearing the 2.5s, but they were all beat up and dirty. And he was like, Aaron, I remember you getting those overshoes and wanting people to beat their shoes up. And now there's like a room full of people, and they're all like, just like they're indoctrinated. They're a community, and like they all are like giving and generous with each other. Like we all like stickers, and we give each other stickers, or like we make patches and we give each other patches. So Saturday hung out with DeCarlos rooftop in the, you know, like with just a bunch of Stanford alum, and DeCarlos was introducing me to them. He's like, I used to work with Aaron at Nike, and he's an artist. And they're just like, yo, if you're an artist, like let's see your work. Like I want to buy something. So, you know, and telling them like, hey, if you want to go see my work, like it's, you know, it's up till July, you know, 24th, 50th and 6th Ave. Will, it's across the street from Rockefeller Center. It's on the same side of the street as Rockefeller Center. And it's between Radio City Music Hall and the Tonight Show. So where those two places are, there's a little like art gallery, or just like an open space, and our my work, you know, things that you inspired me to do, you know, are in that space. And when Tom called out that place, he was like, I want us to share our art at the media center of the world. You know,
Wow.
Radio City Music Hall, Rockefeller Center, like. So I was on Friday night, I stayed out till like 5. Like I just was like, okay, we're gonna drink champagne, we're gonna drink mezcal. Tom likes mezcal, I'm drinking champagne. We're just gonna go back and forth. And then Saturday and then Sunday, I went back to the space and did some Instagram lives and was sharing people's art. Like there was a lot of people that couldn't come, and I felt really privileged to be able to be there and experience it and take pictures and photos, and got like all these instant camera shots. And Will, I mean, you're familiar with this. Like people ask me for my autograph. People were like, hey, you may not remember this, but I reached out to your Instagram page, and I, you know, like I asked you a question and you inspired me, and I kept going. And I'm just like, I mean, what else can I say, man? Will, I mean, yeah, like it happened. Like it's happening,
So,
you know.
so, so how someone's listening to this whole story, right? How do you break that down when it comes to our motto, when it comes to the Stonecutter? Because you were saying that your buddy said he remembered when this was just an idea in your mind. And now you debuted your artwork, you know, at one of the epicenters, right? But at the same time, we were just having a conversation not too long ago of you being hesitant on stepping into that space and even calling yourself an artist.
Yeah.
So someone that is listening to this right now, how would you unpack that for them?
Quickly, when I got the shoes, I had an idea and I had a vision, and I probably didn't know it at the time, but I wanted to meet Tom Sachs, and I wanted to be different. And the minute that I got the shoes, I started to create content because I knew that I wanted to make a film. And there was a lot of conviction and a lot of vision behind that. Like I got the shoes knowing that I was going to make a film. So then I started capturing content, right? And then the pandemic happened. And when the pandemic happened, it forced me to make the film. And the film came at the same time that Tom was doing ISRU. And I took the momentum of the film into ISRU and the line drawing. And the line drawing was open to everybody. Tom, Tom's got 300,000 Instagram followers, and he's just like, hey, do as many push-ups as you can, draw a line, make an X. The next day, try to make the line as close to the one above it. And out of all the people in the world that could have done it, there was probably 10 or 15 that did it. And I was one of those people. And I continued to do it, not knowing that it was going to turn into an art show, but just doing it because for me, it was health, it was therapeutic. And through doing it every day, it gave me the confidence. It's just like chipping away at the stone and revealing and breaking off these pieces and understanding that I am an artist, and that underneath these pieces that are breaking away are doubt, they're negative thoughts, they're all of these attachments that we have, or all these things that are like, well, I can't be, like the conditional would have been like, okay, well, I'm not going to be an artist until I have a show in New York. Like if I have a show in Portland, like I wouldn't be an artist until I had a show in LA, or until I had a show somewhere else. Well, I've had a show, or I've had my artwork presented in one of those places that now removes all the conditionals. And then the universe, it keeps nudging me. Like people are just like, yo, I want to buy this. I want to buy something from you. Like, multiple times when I was in New York, people were like, they are interested. If I were to make something, they want to own a piece of it. So that to me is like, and it evolved. I think that I use the line drawing as something that I could rely on day in and day out to continue with my practice. With some people it's prayer, with other people it can be journaling, but it's about finding something that you can do daily as a consistent, constructive practice. Like as I'm doing the push-up, like, yeah, I'm probably getting stronger physically, like very incrementally, like maybe less than 1%, but mentally, like every time I'm doing it, it's like it's compounding, because I'm taking the energy from yesterday and I'm just adding another layer to it. And I'm adding another day to the number of days consecutively that I've done something, which it increases my mental stamina, which means that when I need to turn something around quick, fast, well, I've endured doing something every day for 400 or 500 days. Yeah, I can do this 30-day thing, no problem. It gives you that confidence because you do something every day. Like you probably speak to yourself in the shower every day. That's why you speak with the confidence and the conviction that you speak with, right? And I think that I do the line drawing and the push-up, but it's like if people that are listening to this podcast take a moment to think about something that you do every day that is positive and it is constructive in your life, and start remembering and taking receipt of how often you do it, and start like get to Cal Ripken, like see how many days in a row that you can end up doing something, and that is what gives you the confidence to I don't know, be your authentic self, to get to where you want to go to for the universe to align you with what your intentions are.
One thing I like what you said about chipping at the stone was it's knocking away that doubt. It's almost like refining yourself. And the only way that you can knock away that doubt, or that self-sabotage, or the thoughts of maybe I'm not good enough, maybe it's not my time, is the consistency of constantly doing something over and over and over and over again. It's like that repetition of you doing that repetition thing over and over and over again. It gives you confidence. I know, like for me, when have to study for a film or a TV show, I like to print things out. I have a binder. I start breaking it down. I have my schedule, and the more that I'm going over it, it gives me the confidence that when I show up, I don't need to know everything, but I know I put a certain amount of time in that I can always bank on the time that I've already put in. So it's just like when you see actors who've been doing it a long time, they just show up and they'll say 2 words. You're like, oh, he's killing it. But you don't see all the hours, all the years, all the time that they have put in before they got to this moment. They're bringing all that with them. And that's the same way that we do when we bring all the doubt over the years, all the worry over the years, all the self-sabotage over the years. When you show up to your breakthrough, you're bringing that thing with you. And that's what I love about this podcast, is because when you're constantly chipping away at that stone, you're breaking those things off of you so that you can come fully yourself. And that's lighter, that you can move, and you're fully yourself in that moment. You're present in that moment. That's why I was like, yo, I know I can see you like, oh yeah, Aaron is doing this, or he's on the art show, or Aaron just built this, or to me, it's like, of course he did. But sometimes when you're in it, you don't always see it like that. So I just want to encourage the people that are listening, as we joy in my brother's story, that you may be that person that's looking to have your art displayed somewhere. You may be designed to be at Nike or somewhere else of your choice. And you may be at a point where you like, can I make it? Is it for me? No one believes in me. I'm a fish out of water. I moved all the way across the country to come somewhere. And you may be feeling like, I don't know. But you have to chip away at that I don't know, because it's in you. To be honest with you, Aaron, Tom Sachs was in you. It just took you getting the shoe, wearing it, doing those things on your own to pull it out of you. But he's always been there. And the biggest illusion that we have as people, we think things are outside of us. They're not. Your wife, Aaron, was not outside of you when you met her. She was in you. You had to get to the point to make some decisions that I want my wife, right? I want to be married. Once you was solid on those decisions and that intention, then boom, she pops up. But we see her outside of ourselves. So we think that, oh, I met her outside of me. No, you just pulled her out of you. You know what I mean? This is a good thing. Scripture in the Bible that I love, and I don't know it offhand, but I just know it, and I'm gonna paraphrase it. It was saying that the Lord will wash the church and present the church back to himself. So as you washing yourself, as you saying, you know what, man, I want my wife. You know what, I'm done, going to bars and dating these women and doing this. I want something more. You're washing yourself, and then the thing pops outside of you. You know what I mean? This is like faith, Aaron. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. It's there the whole time, but you have to make those steps in order for it to appear. So Aaron has always been an artist before he even came into his mother's womb. He was an artist, but things happen in college, in childhood, and whatever that knocked Aaron back, that put that rock around Aaron's heart and mind, that he had to get to a place that he would chop at that stone and be like, oh, he's always been this thing. Just like they said, oh, that guy, whatever that guy that's yelling at the games, he's going to be something in life. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times what's great about having good people around you is that they're able to see you in a way that you might not be able to see yourself. But the goal is to get like Michael Jordan in his prime, where he can see that, yeah, I'm shooting the shot. I may be around Larry Bird. I may be around Magic Johnson. I may be around Charles Barkley, Clyde the Glide, but I'm shooting the last shot. because you know that you know that you know. You know what I'm saying? And
Okay.
that's what's beautiful about your story. You know what I mean? And everything that is going on with the both of us and how we're talking about it as we're on our way. Because if you listen to the first podcast to now, well, I mean, what episode is this?
This is 52 or 53. We just, yeah, 52, 53.
Okay, so 52, 53. How many years we've been doing this now?
This is year 3.
This is year 3. So from the first episode to about 52 or 53 episodes, oh man, we've leaped bounds. You know, I'm on my, this is what, we're in the year 2021, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we just moving into the second half of the year, right? Pretty much.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is my 3rd movie, about 5th TV show
This year,
this year. And the year is not even over.
6 months, 3 movies, 5 TV shows.
6 months, yeah. In 6 months.
Congratulations.
The glory, you know? But this is what we talked about. You know, even like I was telling you before we got online, I was like, bro, you know, man, I'm like, yo, this is going down. I mean, I'm like a comedian. I'm hitting different states, you know, doing my thing, and then I'm shipped back out. And you said to me, well, this is what you prayed for. And just by you saying that gave me the energy that I needed to push into the end of the year. Because yeah, remember you was on that ground wheel saying, God, you got to do something. Well, now you living in it. And I remember, Aaron, this young lady named Flo, about 6 years ago. She had, I think the wife's coming out. Oh, you come on in. Oh, they can't, no one can see you. Okay. About 6 years ago, she was like, I prophesied Amos 9 and 13, that things will happen so fast for you, Will, that your head will swim, that you won't be able to keep up. It will be like wine coming down from the hills, overflowing, blessings on blessings on blessings. Then I looked up and I'm like, yo, it's happening right now. I can't keep up. I can't even try. You know what I'm saying? To the point where I'm like, you know, and I'm getting calls from people like, hey, are you not? You know, I would love to, but you can't even keep up. But this is someone seeing it that was already within me. It's manifesting, you know, now outside of us. But I'm here to tell somebody that, listen, that dream that you want to do is in you. That marriage that you want is in you. That career that you desire is in you. But you must keep chipping away at the stone. As my good friend Aaron would say all the time. Give them the analogy, Aaron, when you talked about the doubt coming onto the window. I love that. And you got to keep washing the window off. You know what I'm saying? Because the doubt brings more mud on the window, and now you got to go back and wash it. That analogy was so good to me because it goes right with what we're talking about.
The analogy is the vision for your future is behind glass. And the doubt that is in your mind will cloud that glass, and you have to use action and through effort but to clean it off. And you have to be consistent, and it has to be daily, and it has to be constant. And eventually you'll be able to wipe the window clear, and you'll be able to see your destiny through all of your doubts and through all of your fears, and they'll all be, you know, wiped away. But the minute that you take a break from the action, and whatever action means to you, because even in rest, you're taking action towards building the better version of yourself, right? But when you stop taking action towards it, then your doubts start to flood back in, and they start to cloudy up the mirror or the wall, or the window again. And you can't see what your intentions are. You can't see what the vision is for your future. Is that, I think that was a few episodes back, but
you know what's so deep about that? Because you mentioned the window. And the word says that your eyes are the windows to your soul. So if your window, your eyes are not seeing right, or it's muddy,
Yes.
you're never going to be able to see the vision for your life. The vision is there. Aaron is an artist, but if the windows of his eyes are saying, no, you're not. No one's going to pick up your art. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Whatever it may be that has the mud, you know what I'm saying? Self-doubt, sabotage. You know, some people it's drugs, some people it's cigarettes, some people it's, it's a bunch of different things. Broken relationships, broken heart, grief, bitterness. It could be things like that now they have what they did, as Aaron has on these sunshades. Imagine that he has on 10 and they're all dark. And they say, Aaron, what do you see for yourself? It's going to be very hard for Aaron to see. I don't know, until you start to remove the glasses. And this is what this podcast is doing. It's lifting the veil. It's lifting the glasses so that you can see that, yeah, you can do it. Look where we were at episode 1 to now. We haven't even got to 100 episodes. We haven't even finished the year yet. And I think about when you talk about the vision, it's also what you echo out of your mouth. Tells you what's in your heart. So when I'm saying I'm a movie star, that's what I'm seeing. So now as I'm starting to do these movies, it's all lifting up. And it's like, yeah, of course. You know what I mean? Of course I'm a movie star. Of course here's an artist. It's of course. But you have to see it. You have to see it. You have to see, you have to see, and you have to get around people to help you see it. And if you don't have anybody to help you see it at the present time and moment, you have your journal. But you have to see it. You have to know it. And that's what Aaron is saying about action. When nobody's looking, you're chipping away. Sometimes when I got my big old water bottle when I'm going to work out in the morning and I'm walking before the workout, I know it's going to hurt. I know I don't feel like doing it all the time, but each step is moving forward. What you talked about, endurance and line drawing. You're constantly moving forward. The earth is constantly rotating in space on a globe, rotating around. When I'm at that gym, when I'm with this water, I'm constantly moving forward, moving forward. I'm getting there. Sometimes you just have to make that step, each step, one foot falling in front of the other. And this is for somebody who's listening and saying, well, I hear you guys. I feel good. I'm inspired. I'm so happy for you and Aaron. I'm glad that the career is taking off for the both of you. I mean, great. Kudos to you guys. But I still don't understand what I need to do to move forward. And what I would say to that person is you have to keep walking. You have to keep walking. It's that simple. The time that you say, I don't know what I need to do, now you're not walking forward. You're not moving forward. Because there's someone on that path that will be the solution to your problem, the answer to your question. But the time that you stop moving forward, if you don't do that thing, Aaron, with the shoe, then time doesn't appear. There's no reason for time to come into your space. But you kept moving forward. And this is what our listeners have to do. On this podcast, we're raising millionaires, billionaires, artists, creatives, people who want to change the world. But the key, like the stonecutter, is constantly hitting the stone. He's constantly in motion, moving forward. And Aaron mentioned rest. Just because you're resting doesn't mean you're not doing anything. He may have been at it or she may have been at it for 12 hours. Hands are bleeding. I have to put it down for a second. Ice up, put some cream on or whatever. And then you're back at it. Because eventually a diamond is gonna come out of that rock, and that diamond is you. I know we said a lot, but
Stonecutters Podcast.
we out.